Stop what you're doing right now and check out my picks for this video in the description section below. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. My name is Brock Page, and I don't know anything about sports handicapping. I'm also still doing random sports picks for fun, and you might be surprised as to who I'm picking in the NBA today. Once again, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. And with that said, let's get into some picks for Thursday, April 20th. Let's go ahead and start in the East. I'm talking about Cleveland at Indiana. The betting opened up with the Cavs as the 3.5-point favorites and the total at 211.5. Since then, Cleveland's now just minus 2.5 against the spread, with the total remaining at 211.5. Currently, Cleveland's the favorite, laying 143 on the money line. And at the moment, 59% of the bettors think the Cavs will get the job done. Speaking of the Cavaliers, they're covering a respectable 60% of their games at the current point spread. They're facing an Indiana team who covered just 48% of their games overall this year and just 46% as the underdog. When it comes to the total, games 1 and 2 both went over the total posted points. All that said, I'm ready to make my pick, as I think the Cleveland Cavs at minus 2.5 will get the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total, I think this one goes over 211.5. And when it comes to the money line cash, I think the Cavs pick up a solid road victory. I'm also adjusting the line and taking Indiana plus 10.5 as the first pick of my 8-point teaser. Next game, Toronto at Milwaukee. The betting opened up with the Milwaukee Bucks as the 1-point favorite and the total at 196.5. Since then, Milwaukee's now minus 1.5 against the spread, with the total moving upward to an even 197. Currently, the Bucks are slightly favored, laying 120 on the money line, and at the moment, 69% of the bettors think Milwaukee will get the job done. Despite their current success against the number, this Milwaukee team has only covered 12 of 29 games this year going into it as the home favorite. In addition to that, they're only covering 45% overall in all games. They're facing a Toronto team who covers a respectable 61% as the underdog, and an even more impressive 67% as the official road underdog. On a side note, 2 out of both teams' last 3 games have gone under the total posted points. All that said, I'm ready to make my pick, as I think the underdog Toronto Raptors at plus 1.5 will get the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total, I think this one stays under 197. And when it comes to the money line cash, I think Toronto steals a solid road win. I'm also adjusting the line and taking the Toronto Raptors plus 9.5 as the second pick of my teaser. Next game, San Antonio at Memphis. Last game for the show. The betting opened up with the Spurs as the 4-point favorites and the total at 185. Since then, San Antonio is now just minus 3.5 against the spread, with the total moving slightly upward to 185.5. Currently, the Spurs are laying 160 on the money line, and at the moment, 70% of the bettors think the Spurs will get the job done. Speaking of the Spurs, they're respectable 24-17 against the spread on the road. They're facing a Memphis squad who covered just 16 of 36 games against teams over 500. Even worse, the Grizzlies have failed to cover in their last 4 consecutive games. On a side note, 2 out of both teams' last 3 games have gone over the total. All that said, I'm ready to make my pick, as I think San Antonio minus 3.5 will get the job done against the spread. When it comes to the total points, I think this one barely gets over 185.5. And when it comes to the money line cash, I think San Antonio wins it on the road. I'm also adjusting the line and taking Memphis plus 11.5 as the third and final pick of my 3-teamer. Just a reminder, my 8-point Sweetheart Super Teaser pays 5-6 and gets graded as a loss should any game result in a push. You can find this exotic wager in several online sportsbooks and in the state of Delaware. Well, folks, that is going to do it for me. Once again, I have to remind you that I am not a sports betting expert, nor do I implore you to take any of my picks. A wise man once said, good ain't free, and free ain't good. If for some reason you decide to use the free information on this program, you're utilizing it at your own discretion. Most importantly, if you're betting any of these games, do it safe, do it responsibly, and most important, have fun. For Brock Page Predictions and Sports Picks, I'm Brock Page, and have yourself a positive day.